Welcome to Q Mind Body. My name is Darren Main, and in this podcast, we talk about all things having to do with gay men's wellness, health, spirituality, and just getting a better quality life. In this episode, we're going to talk about what are the qualities to being a long-term partner. Lamont is the dating coach, the gay dating coach. He has an amazing, fun show on Instagram. I was recently on his podcast called Dating Dilemmas. I think Dating Dilemma is my drag name. Um,
Like that.
And his website is betterwaytomeet.com. If you'd like to support this channel, check out the Gay Wellness website because they are supporting us. It's a great directory of coaches, massage therapists, and people who specialize in working with gay men all over the world, so you can find someone in your area. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You can find this episode on YouTube, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. You can drop comments there, which we will respond to. And I will also post links to both Lamont's website and work, as well as my own in the show notes, so you can get in touch with both of us. All that out of the way, I'm going to bring in Lamont, and we're going to talk about what qualities you should have in a long-term partner, or you should be in a long-term partner, or both. I'm pretty sure I have neither, so you you found me just in time. I'm like your test case. If you can fix me, it's proof of concept. Okay. Lamont, it's so good to see you again.
Hey, Darren, how you doing? It's great to see you as well.
It's really good to see you. And, I love being on your podcast, Dating Dilemmas. It was fun.
Yes.
You asked such great questions and fun, sort of that put me on the spot, not in a bad way, in like the best way possible.
Mhm.
When you do a lot of interviews, you get a lot of the same questions over and over again. And I was like, oh my God, where's he going with this? I don't.
I feel like we had a whole therapy session, Darren. So thanks
It
for
was so good.
participating. I will tell you, though, there were tons of comments under the video, but so many people sent me private messages, like my friends. They were like, awesome episode, because they're in relationships where there are significant age differences.
Yeah.
So, like, you really hit some good points, and they really saw themselves in you.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will link to that episode and into your podcast in the show notes if people want to check it out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put you on the spot now.
I'm ready.
Payback, baby. So just briefly, a lot of people know who you are and know of your work. You're pretty prolific online with the content you create and the work you do. But you're the gay dating coach, and maybe you could just say, just bird's eye view, like, what is it that you do? Why do you
Sure.
think gay men need a little coaching around dating?
Sure. So I call myself the gay dating coach because I exclusively work with gay men through dating coaching sessions, but also through matchmaking as well. And I know my purpose in life, Darren, and it really is to help gay men be their most authentic selves. And growing up, I didn't have examples of how to court a man, how to argue with a man, how to, build a long-term relationship with a man. You can see the picture behind me. I do have a man. I have a husband now, but I've been a therapist for a long time, and I just wanted to give back and teach gay men exclusively to have those skills. So I do that through one-on-one sessions, group sessions, and sometimes some not so traditional formats like through a dating talk show.
Yeah. Well, I will definitely link to your dating talk show because it is so much fun. Whenever I tune into it, it's just
Yeah.
it's fun, but it also gets to the heart of, I think, why so many gay men have difficulty dating, because they don't ask. They're not particularly hard questions, but they're questions we don't bother to think about until someone like you comes along and says, "Oh," like it lobs us right into their lap, and it forces us to step back and say, "How do I feel about this? What is it I'm looking for?" Well, speaking of the beautiful couple in the portrait behind you, in some of my notes, you are, am I correct in that you're living with your nephews, nieces?
Well. So I'm married to my husband, and about, God, it's been probably 8 or so years ago, We took custody of his two nephews because his sister passed away. So they both
Wow.
were really young, and now they both actually graduated from college this month.
Wow.
So I feel old because when I first met them, they were so, small, but now they're taller than
Yeah.
me, and they're these young men who are going out into the world.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, my son is 15 and he's
Yeah.
taller than me now. He loves pointing that out. And he's just finishing up his freshman year in high school. And I
Yeah.
look at him and I'm like, how did I become the old man with the kid? Soccer
That's
mom.
me. Wait until he's out of the house in college, and it'll make you feel really, really old. Yes.
Yeah. I keep telling him, I hope they teach you how to change adult diapers in high school because you're going to
I'm
need
gonna
that
need
skill
it.
soon.
I'm gonna need it.
Well, let's talk about our topic for today. What are the qualities to being in a long-term partnership? And I think this is like the last time I interviewed you, I said, what do you want to talk about? Anything at all? And you're like, interracial dating. I'm like, oh, this I'm not going to get in any trouble there. Um, and you were really skillful
Mhm,
at that holding that important conversation, which
mhm,
can be difficult.
mhm,
It can be hard for a lot of us. Um, and this one too, I think, is a conversation that really needs to be had,
mhm, mhm,
and nobody's having it. And so I love that you just go right for
mhm.
right for the most awkward conversation in the
I'm
room
I'm
and
okay with
pull on
having
it.
uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. And I found that it's helpful because if we don't talk about the elephants in the room, then we're ignoring things and we don't actually get to grow. And in my work, I meet a lot of different guys through like dating coaching, through matchmaking, and don't cuss me out, okay? Because I'm gonna get start right there. I think people feel entitled to have a relationship because they build up their bodies or they build up their bank accounts, but they forget about their emotional skills that are required to be in a long-term relationship.
Hmm.
It's always shocking to me because when you think about like what people who want to get married, who want to be in a long-term relationship, they're looking for, can I trust you? Are you self-aware? Can you be empathetic? Right? I, People forget about those emotional skills, Darren.
Well, let's talk about what they are. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if my beautiful biceps aren't going to get the job done,
Mm-hmm.
um, like what are some of those skills
Mm-hmm.
that many of us are lacking, some or all of?
Right. So I think sometimes people think they treat a relationship like it's a business deal or it's something they earned or because they worked out, get a six pack or, big muscles that they deserve a certain type of partner instead of building trust. When you talk about long-term relationship, you want to be with someone that you feel like you can trust them with your most intimate feelings, your fears. You want to trust them with your bank account, like your financial situation, right? Can you trust them um, to have your back? Can you trust them to be with your family? Trust is really key when you talk about having a long term partner. I'm not talking about if you're just trying to hook up with someone or have like a casual interaction. I'm talking about building a life with somebody. Another
Yeah.
thing, a thing is really, really important is self awareness. Like I think the type of guys I meet through my services, sometimes they make $500,000, right? And I'm like, can you read the room? Like, can you read the damn room when you're on a date? Like, and they're like, no, they're just very focused on what they want to do. Sometimes they're not empathetic. They're very black and white, like it's their way or the highway. And that does not work in a long term relationship. That only works in like a very one night stand situation.
Now, do you think that these are skills that it seems to me that there's some people like when I went to massage school,
Mm-hmm.
There were people who were not very good at massage at the beginning, and they were even worse at the end because they didn't have the ability to touch and that
Mm-hmm.
intuitive something that you can do with your hands that you develop and get better at through
Mm-hmm.
training and then years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that emotionally people can be like that too. Like some people are just naturally empathetic,
Mm-hmm.
naturally good listeners, naturally able to read the room and sense what's happening emotionally and psychologically. And
Mm-hmm.
other people, not so much. But is it a skill that they can develop, or do they just need to get a
Absolutely.
little bit better at it? Or
Absolutely. And one of the things, particularly for gay men, I give us, a green pass because we, society has taught us that so many negative things about who we are. So, and even men have been taught not to be emotionally expressive. So, I understand. However, there are things that you can learn these skills. There are a couple things you can do. Like if you want to be more emotionally available, sometimes you might have to journal, like literally write down like what were my triggers this week that made me not want to share my thoughts and my feelings. Try doing that every night. Like,
yeah,
hey, I so and so at work, or my mother called and I wanted to say something but I didn't. Try that. Another thing is when you talk about empathy, trying to develop that skill, we all might have a close friend. Practice that with your close friends, saying, hey, you know what? I just wanted to share something with you today.
yeah,
That's so hard for some people to, like, forget about the surface level conversations. Say, hey, I'm not feeling too good about my body, or I'm not feeling too good. Or here's the one, I'm feeling lonely.
yeah.
When's the last time one of your friends told you, I feel lonely?
I don't think
Probably
I've ever heard someone say that.
because we have been taught to have this wall and this facade of that everything is okay. But I
Yeah.
bet you the majority of your friends sometimes experience loneliness.
Which ironically is reaching out and connecting with someone is the antidote to loneliness, and yet it's the
Yes.
thing we're least likely to engage in.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, you mentioned like write down your triggers, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a great suggestion, but
Mm-hmm.
it takes a certain amount of self-awareness to even know that it's a trigger. It's
Mm-hmm.
like some people, it's like, I'm mad because you did this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not realizing that you didn't really do anything the way you phrased something or did, or it hit a nerve with me, but
Mm-hmm.
at least 50% of that is my own trigger, right? Some of
Mm-hmm.
it might be some of your behavior, but a lot of it is just how it hits me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people don't even know they have triggers. They just think they're upset because the rest of the world made them that way.
Yeah.
Their partner made them
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
way.
And the key with this exercise is some people will write down things day to day, day to day. It may take a month for the light bulb to go off. Because if you keep writing that every day, take a look back, look at the themes. If the problem is always the other person, guess what? You might have to look internally and say, you know what, here's a theme. Every time someone talks about dating, I get upset. Or every time someone talks about money, I get upset. Well, why do I get upset when people bring up these topics?
Yeah.
What is that making me feel like? That's the point of the journaling, is because you have to look at the history
Mhm.
and look at the themes.
I always tell people the common denominator in all your bad relationships is you.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, like all these guys you dated are different in
Mhm,
different ways, maybe
mhm,
have some similarities because we're attracted to certain types, but
mhm.
the common denominator is you.
Yes,
So
yes,
if you're seeing this over and over again,
yeah.
um, who was it? Marianne Williamson. Somebody asked, how come a woman asked her, how come all the only guys I meet are jerks? And she said, the problem isn't that you're meeting jerks, it's that you're giving them your phone number.
Yes, because you see the themes, you see they're all jerks, but you still keep engaging with them. Like I
Yeah.
think sometimes people forget that they actually get to choose who they are in a relationship with, and you choose if you tolerate certain things. So it shouldn't go to a relationship if you keep seeing the same old patterns over and over again.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing to recognize your patterns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I have daddy issues or mommy issues, or always want to be the caretaker, or I like to be the savior and save and fix people, and
Mm-hmm.
wounded birds are my thing. Um, it's one thing to know that or
Mm-hmm.
to see that pattern in yourself. It's another thing to be able to do something about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the moment it feels like, but I'm so in love with you, I'm so into you, and you're so into me. How do you help men navigate that? Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you keep getting what you got.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a guy that comes to you and says, hey, I'm ready for something that can last more than 6 months or more than a second date.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um like, they may be able to see their patterns, but how do you help them change the patterns?
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't do cookie cutter responses for guys or solutions because each individual person is different and it's layered. Some have a history of modeling, like they see their parents' relationship and they see that maybe mom was taking care of dad all the time. So they thought that was the perfect example of love. Or maybe they lacked something as they grew up. So they're like, you know what? I didn't get this growing up. So when I'm in a relationship, I'm going to make sure I am head over heels. They overcompensate, right? Other people, they feel like if they're not the one who's fixing and in control, then they have no value. Like, what is the beautiful thing if someone else can pour into you and you be okay with that?
Mm.
Some people are afraid of that because they're like, well, wait a minute. If this person is loving me, supporting me, who is like doing all these great things, well, what do I have to offer? Like, so they feel very
Yeah.
intimidated by it. So we work on figuring out what are the causes.
Yeah.
I make people very uncomfortable through the dating coaching process because just like you go to the gym, your muscles are going to hurt for a little bit, but you get the results that you want at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. What how do people respond to you? I'm curious. I mean, obviously you have a lot of success,
Mm-hmm.
so at least some people are sticking with it and doing the hard work that you're asking them to do.
Yeah.
But I can imagine calling you on the phone or to go booking a consultation through your website and saying, "Hey, find me my partner." Get to work on that, Cupid. And you saying, sure, but first,
Yeah.
let's pull out all your dirty laundry and stain wash them. uh, I think a lot of people don't know that they have that work to do,
Yeah.
or they don't want to do it, and they're looking for someone. Please complete me, please fix me, but don't make me change. I can imagine people could have an adverse reaction to you.
Darren, you must be on the wall behind me hearing things all the time, okay? Because that's one of the reasons I took my telephone number off the
I
internet.
wish I was in that picture with you.
But guys, they do come to me and they're like, "Hey, just find me the right guy." And I say, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. Matchmaking, dating coaching is not like buying a car. It's like building a car, right? So
Mm.
it is an intimate relationship between myself and my clients because they have to be willing to be open. They have to be willing to say, "Okay, Lamont, I'll try this stuff you're telling me to do." Right. And they have to be willing to try it. And once we have that trusting relationship established, they're like, "Oh my goodness, I thought you were all this crap and blah, 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 but this is actually working. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm doing it." And for them, it changes their perspectives. It changes how they show up in a relationship. It changes how they actually select a person because most
Yeah.
of the time they're just waiting for certain people to approach them, which I think is ridiculous because that means you allow any and everybody to come into your space and to pick you. And I'm like, no, you pick the type of people you want to go on dates with. and you have to approach them. You have to do it in a certain manner. You have to call them. You have to be vulnerable. Like, it's work. It's not, hey, here's my degree or here's my six pack. Everybody has those.
I don't.
Well, but you know what?
Maybe
You,
that's the secret, not having a degree or six pack.
you probably have more emotional intelligence that other people would make you more dateable. And I will tell you, you could lose your job tomorrow. Like, I work for the federal government, during the daytime. We know what's going on there, right? I could lose my job tomorrow. As you age, you can lose your six pack. You can everything that was up here usually falls down, right? What do you have after that? Who are you at the core? Like, most gay men who are in a long-term relationship, they value emotional compatibility. Are you in sync with my emotions? Do you even give a damn about how I'm feeling? Right? Not
Yeah.
you look great or you have a degree, you can buy this. Long-term relationships require more intimacy than a transactional type relationship.
Yeah. Do you find I think a lot of people in general, gay men specifically, can often feel more lonely
Hmm.
in a relationship that it does not have that quality that you're describing of emotional openness and intimacy.
Hmm.
They can feel more lonely than if they were single.
Yes. Yeah, I will tell you, and I like to be transparent and talk about reality. There are sometimes we see a gay couple out, and you're like, "Oh my goodness, what are they doing together? He picked him." Like, why? Like, why is that working? Because they think one of the partners may not be aesthetically pleasing, right? But I bet
Mhm.
you he has the biggest heart. I bet you he pays
I thought you were
attention.
going somewhere
I
completely
was,
different with the
that might be big too, but I don't know. Okay. But I
He's a
get,
keeper then.
but you know what? That thing ain't gonna work all the time. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work all the time. Um, but that guy probably is empathetic. He probably pays attention to the guy's emotions. The guy probably can trust him. Trust is key. Like, I don't know how to underscore that enough. Like, there have been a number of studies that have been out there, and gay men, the top thing that they prioritize is trust, emotional compatibility, and then also communication. That's what we
Yeah.
really prioritize. Physical looks, that ranked much lower, surprisingly, for long-term relationships.
I guess the question is, if we prioritize that, why is it so elusive?
Because I think the way that, unfortunately, I think we're about the same age. Our generation pushed like this physical aesthetic or sex as priority for a relationship or any type of interaction with other gay men. And so it's hard to shift that. Like, yes, I'm very sex positive. I will tell you though that sex is great, enjoy it, but if you're looking for something that is a little bit more intimate and long term, you have to look over sex and look for something that's more sustainable.
Yeah.
And when you talk about emotional compatibility, trust, empathy, that requires a lot of work daily, like daily in that relationship. And some people feel like being in a relationship should come natural, easy, it's not work. But no, that is a thing that you have to push, work on hard every single day.
Mm. I'd rather die bitter, old, and alone.
No, Darren, no.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
No. I will
um,
tell you though, there are some people, and I'm the person, I don't believe that um what they say, that for every pot there's a lid. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe some people don't have the desire to be in a long-term relationship, and we should celebrate that. That is totally fine. Some people also don't have the emotional capacity to be in a long-term relationship, and they should really have some self-awareness to let the single people know that, so they don't waste their time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if people wanted to work with you more, maybe you know what I would love for you to do is tell people about some of your online content, such
Hmm.
as your podcast
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
your dating show on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a fun way for people just to connect with you more who
Hmm.
are enjoying your wisdom today.
Yeah.
But also to talk a little bit about how if somebody wanted to work with you in a more significant way, like to hire you as a coach or as a matchmaker. Do you show up wearing a diaper, like a bow and arrow? Because I
I'm
have in
probably
my
the
mind that you
I'm,
are
I'm
like,
I'm probably the height of Cupid, but I am too old to be wearing a diaper. Maybe when I turn 90, I'll put a
yeah,
diaper on.
or not quite old enough.
I'm not old
Maybe in
enough.
your future.
Yeah, so one of the newest things that I'm doing, Darren, is the Dating Dilemma podcast, which you were a great guest on. And I'm trying to put out content that really there's really free advice, free dating advice that I have conversations with members from the LGBTQ plus community from different ages, ethnicities, nationalities, walks of life about their unique experiences when it comes to dating. Because again, no one taught me how to date. So I want people
Mm.
to see different people's journeys as they try to find love and say, hey, let's try to intervene a little bit here. Have you tried this? Or other people are like, hey, Lamont, they're bringing their gems and their wisdom so that other people can learn from that. So that's on my YouTube channel, The Gay Dating Coach. One of the other things that I do every Wednesday, which is a little spicier, again, if you're
That's a
looking
good way to
for
describe it.
if you're looking for a typical therapist, that is not me. That's not me. I have the degrees of a therapist, but the personality of a game show host. Mix it together. But on Wednesdays, we have a show called Shoot Your Shot Wednesday where different singles come on. I ask them crazy questions about, their sex life, um, things they're looking for in love, and we have a good time. And one of the things I really like about that space is I feel like we as gay men, we have been shamed about the type of sex that we like and who we are. So I tried to create a space where people are open and honest and authentic about who they are in a fun, lighthearted way. And we have built an amazing community every Wednesday night. It
Yeah,
has also transitioned into in-person events. I'll be doing one in DC in 2 weeks. So I'm excited about
nice.
that. Um, and then the last thing is, I professionally, I do dating coaching, one-on-one, and matchmaking. So I send guys on dates across the country. Like they pay me, say, hey, Lamont, this is what I'm looking for. We do some dating coaching sessions and I send them on dates.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just curious, the shoot your shot. Have you had anyone meet on there that's still together?
Absolutely. And it's so crazy. Like if I showed you my DMs, people would send me messages like, "Oh, we're on a date. Oh, I flew from here to Houston to go on a date with this man." And some pictures I don't need to see that they've sent, and I'm just like, "Wait, wait, wait."
I do. Can you forward them to me?
I'm like, "Wait a minute. Y'all need to put your clothes on. I need to see that." Yes.
I will. They can send them to me instead if they
I
if
will
they.
forward. I will forward.
I will shoulder that burden for you. Um. So, uh, two questions, and then I'm gonna let you go because I know you've got couples to pair and everything. Um. Is there any chance you could fix me up with either Don Lemon or Anderson Cooper?
I think Dawn Lemon is married, so if you want to be a
I'm open
third,
to a thruple.
a
I'm open to a
throuple,
thruple. With Don Lemon, I'd be open to a thruple. I'm
yeah.
not picky.
Okay, so we'll see if we can do that, but that's
Yeah.
not how it works, though. You don't say, "Hey, go get me him." I can coach you to get him and approach him.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah, I'm not an
I
escort. I'm not a pimp or what's it called? I don't know what what's the I don't know. I'm not a madam.
um I would love to have you back on at some point. But until
Absolutely.
then,
Yeah.
people should check out your podcast,
Hmm.
Dating Dilemmas.
Hmm.
Um with the best show ever with me as a guest. And then your website is Better Way to Meet, and also follow you on Instagram and check out your live stream on Wednesday nights. It's just such a fun time. Whenever I'm free, I tune in and I absolutely love it.
Yes.
So Lamont White, betterwaytomeet.com is your website.
Mhm.
I'll also put links in the show notes so people can click through easily. And I will put links to my content as well as the Q Mind Body community on Instagram, Facebook, and elsewhere, where you can connect and chat with other like-minded gay men. One quick announcement: we have another gay men's sangha here in San Francisco in the Bay Area. We're going to be doing this the last Friday of every month in the Castro. And if you're interested, I will put links to that. And we're going to have David Moreno as our speaker, a guest speaker, and we'll do a little yoga, meditation, and conversation with like-minded gay men. So keep an eye out for that. Lamont, thank you so much for being here, and I really want to have you back on again. I always love chatting with you. You're fun, and a game show host is move over Bob Barker.
Yes, and tell Steve Harvey I'm taking his job. Yes.
Cool.